Hi everyone. I hope everyone is well. If you've noticed, I don't have my face and me kind of reading. I don't know how long it's gonna be. I can't find. Um, yeah, I don't feel good, guys. But I wanted to kind of record myself reading. I've been feeling like complete. Well, I've just been feeling bad for a couple of days, and it feels like I wouldn't even want to call it a rainstorm because I actually don't know if I'm ever gonna get better. I actually really just don't feel good. But right now, I guess the motivation, the want to make a video and try to and just do this is stronger than whatever is in my mind. Yeah, let's get to it. else would dozes back? Who else would dozes way back over the pond in a giant secobarbital capsule and labor for months with people like Bob Ezrin, Steve Winwood, and Jack Bruce to puke up a Berlin a gargantuan slab of maggotry rancor that may well be the most depressed album ever made. Who else would then poke his arm so full of vigorating vitamins that he lost all that fat overnight, then cartwheel on stage in spastic epicin athletic fits when everybody expected him to bloat up and die? Who else would make this gig looking like some bizarre crossbreed of Jerry Lewis, of Idiot Movies fame, and a monkey on cantharides? Who else but Lau Reed could have survived making a public embarrassment of himself for so long that he actually managed to lasso a great rock and roll band to back up his monkey shines? Name me somebody who would come back from the quagmire that was Berlin to make Sally Can't Dance, an album that broke its own ankles, going out of every seasoned Reed's fans' way to make all possible concessions to commercialism on the lowest level of palatable pap, and get that crappy platter in the top 10. Who else would write whole new volumes in tonsorial culture, shaving his traditionally kinky locks to the skull for the Simeon charm, then topping even his own act by carving iron crosses in that mangy patch of stubble, a whim which put him in Rana Barrett's column? Well, they said it couldn't be done, but somebody's finally managed to invest a totally new hairstyle, then redo his Dome Hitler Youth blonde so he resembled a bubblegum Kenneth Anger, which is obviously one damn cool way for a pop star to look, especially if he's been looking like sulking shit for as long as Lau had. Who but Lau Reed could add a whole new entry to the annals, annals of onstage tastelessness by tying off during the middle of heroin and pretending to shoot up with an actual syringe, which, on at least one gig, he then handed to a member of the audience as a souvenir. What other rock artist would put up with an interview by the author of this article, read the resultant vicious vitriol spew with approval, and then invite me back for a second round because, of course, he's such a masochist. He loved the hatchet in his back. Not a living soul, that's who. Why is this guy, who has made a career out of terminal switches ever since the Velvet Underground surfaced dead on arrival in 1966, still here? Well, for one thing, the Velvets emerged from under from one of the many entrepreneurial wings of Andy Warhol, who has managed to accomplish more in this culture while acting, in public at least, like a total autistic node than almost any other figure of the 60s. Lau learned a lot from Andy. Mainly about becoming a successful public personality by selling your own private quirks to an audience greedy for more and more geeks. The prime lesson he learned was that to succeed as this kind of mass-consumed non-entity, You must expertly erect walls upon walls to reinforce the walls that your own quirky vulnerability has already put there. In other words, Lao Reed is a completely depraved pervert, pathetic death dwarf, and everything else you want to think he is. On top of that, he's a liar. Wasted talent. An artist continually in flux, an huckster selling pounds of his own flesh. So, an huckster selling pounds of his own flesh. Panderer, living off the dumbbell nihilism of a 70s generation, doesn't have the energy to commit suicide. Loud Reed is the guy that gave dignity and poetry and rock and roll, smack, speed, homosexuality, sadomasochism, murder, misogyny, stumbled bum passivity, and suicide, and then proceeded to belly all his achievements and return to the mire by turning the whole thing into a monumental badge of himself as the woefully resistant Henry Youngman and his slithering, bumbling punchline that kept losing their punch. Lester Bang's a really good writer, by the way. You know what? A thought came into my head just now, so I read this. The central heroic myth of the 60s was the burnout. Live fast, be bad, get messy, die young. More than just hope I die before I get old. It was a whole cool stock we had down to try to get. Partially, it has to do with the absolute non-existence of real, objective, straight arrow, head held, head held high, noble, achieving heroes. Myself, I always wanted to emulate the most self-destructive bastard I could see, as long as he moved with some sense of style. Thus, Lau Reed, getting off vicariously on various forms of deviant experience compensated somehow for the emptiness of our own drearily normal lives. It's like you never want to see the reality. It's too clammy watching someone shoot up junk and turn blue. It ain't like listening to the records. I read the entire paragraph, but the only thing that kind of wanted me to talk in the first place was the first line, first few sentences about kind of like wanting to die young. Um, I've read interviews um, way back, way back in like Facebook days about people who are in their early 20s, mid 20s, how they wanted to die when they were young, like before they hit 30 or before they hit 35. And I've always wondered, what could what why? And just now I thought about, right now if you're in your 20s, if you're in your 10, 20s, 30s, you have chances are, especially if you're in your 10, 20s, you're healthy. Your body physically is at its prime. You are healthy. You have no dental issues. You have no swallowing issues. You have no neck issues. You have no muscle, skeletal, none of that shit. Right? Your joints are fine. Your knees are good. Your eyesight is good. You can drive. Your ears are good. You can listen to new music. You can listen to you can go to like a festival, and you don't have to worry about blowing your eardrums off unless you are literally right next to the speakers. That much should be common sense, right? But yeah, so you don't have to worry about shitting yourself, pissing on yourself. You don't have to worry about getting up randomly in the night because of sleep apnea. You don't have to worry about forgetting. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about getting Alzheimer's. You don't have to worry about dementia. You don't have to worry about anything. That could be considered a very common thing when you are in your in your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. And made me think, like, that made me think, because the reality is absolutely devastating, when you start realizing that you are actually getting older. Your body's not really listening to you. You're not healing as you thought you would. A wound, a little paper cut that you thought was gonna go away, a little paper cut that you got in the morning that you thought was gonna go away is still bothering you late in the night, especially. And the other thought that is lingering in your mind is not just the physical pain from the paper cut, but it's the anxiety that you are getting from how your body is now getting older, how your body system is just not healing as faster as fast as it should. And now that thought coupled with the physical pain is intruding your mind. It's And now you have a choice of either being delusional or just accepting the fact that you are getting old and it is inevitable, and your body is not at its prime anymore, and then now you just have to kind of live with it. It gets way too miserable. People get married, people have kids for their own reasons, right? But for me, I don't know if I've always thought about how I wanted to get married, how I wanted to find someone, how I wanted to have kids. I thought, because I really resonated with what the novelist Han Gang. I don't know if you guys know her, but I believe she's the recent Korean author. She was awarded the Nobel Prize. Oh shit. Um, for her book, The Vegetarian. one of the things that she said about, she initially did not want any children, but then her husband kind of convinced her, or persuaded her by saying, "Don't you want your kid to know the taste of watermelons, or how the rain sounds, etc." He was talking about watermelons because it's a common thing to eat watermelons in the summer. When it's when it's just scorching hot outside and humid, but then the taste of fresh, cold watermelon is one of the best things, not only to eat but to share that with your family, people that you love, is an extraordinarily human thing. Um, and I thought more about it because I thought I was only thinking about the pleasure aspect, as in eating the cooled watermelon in a very hot day. It's just, that's only about pleasure, but at the same time I wasn't thinking about the realization of learning, like giving birth to a new life that is just, that can learn, right? They can learn, like everything is new for them. Everything that you are familiar of, they don't know, but they are capable of learning it. Unlike dogs, unlike cats, unlike lions, unlike any other mammalian animals that we know of, we are the only ones that can learn this because we created them. Thinking about that, I thought it was more like that, but I'm not really entirely sure anymore, because in 10 years I'm gonna be extremely lonely you know um if I'm not if I don't have anyone that I can comfortably talk to, if I don't have anyone that I can really trust and let myself out to, that I can have someone who I can trust, love to the humanly possible thing, the to let out my emotion that is categorized as love to another human being. Um, because in 10 years, in 20 years, I don't know if the people that love me a lot, the people that love me the most in the world, my parents, are gonna be alive anymore, right? Um, and it's when that thought kind of, when you realize that you won't have a home anymore when you go in, and your parents will not be there. If you text something to your parents, or if you try to call them, they don't pick up their voicemail. When you leave them a voicemail, they never respond about it. You don't get a response about the voicemail, or about any messages, or about anything else. It's a very, very lonely place once you realize that you are just alone in the world. I don't have a lot of friends because the whole life I've just not been a good person. I don't have a lot of friends. It's gonna be an extremely lonely situation for me. Wow, that was very, very, very narcissistic. So self-centered. Okay, oh my god. It's littered with dopey Charkovs and buttons of every stripe. Don't spill rubbery befuddlement. Ella is the king. Ella is king of them all, y'all. It's raining. Damn. Part of the whole acceleration of admiring somebody for their artistic accomplishments is resenting them because they never live up to your expectations. Shit. Fuck. That's crazy shit. You know, this is so true. Holy crap. Not just, I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking about just how artists are. Everyone says, "Wow, this album is not as good as their previous ones," or "Wow, he's washed now. He should retire." Wait, where do you think they're getting the comparison from? Their old works? Surreptitiously cock. At first glance, I thought it was some dark, swarthy European woman with long, rank, thick hair falling onto her shoulders. Then I realized that it had a, then I realized that it had a beard, and I figured, well, cool, the bearded lady. The loud beat that fits. But now I wasn't closer, and it was almost unmistakably a guy, except that behind its Stands to reason he could have beautiful toys. Stands to reason he could have beautiful boys or whatever he wanted around him. So you gotta conclude that he wanted this strange, large, frightening thing that never talked and barely ever lifted its head. There was a sense of permanency, even protectiveness around the relationship. Me, I was drunk. I clocked about a half quart of Johnny Walker Black while waiting for Lau to get ready to argue. And what the hell? Last time Lau was in town, he was drinking double Johnny Walkers while I sat there nursing my Bloody Mary, trying to think of questions while he rambled on, oozily saying things like, "Will Yoko leave Paul?" And I admire Burt Reynolds a lot. Now we were back in the fray, and he just sat there too goddamn cool, even though I was almost positive he was speeding or coking his brain pan shiny. He obviously considered me a total bumpkin, and I played it to the hilt, demanding more scotch, which he refused to give me. "Enough of your drinking, stop. You can't handle it. I don't want you to get wasted." Doing jive spade routines and hollering to me hilariously funny things like, "A part of me is it's furthest from my mind. I'm just looking for a ha ha ha." Al started off with a backhanded compliment that turned into a crudiferous insult midway. "You know that I basically like you in spite of myself. Common sense leads me to believe that you're an idiot, but somehow the epistem epistemological things that you epistemological things that you come out with sometimes betray the fact, but somehow the epistemological things that you come out with sometimes betray the fact that you're kind of onomatopoetic in a subterranean way, reptilian way." What the fuck? Leads me somehow you're the epistemological things. Common sense leads me to believe that you're an idiot, but somehow the epistemological things that you come out of, epistemological things that you come out with sometimes betray the fact that you're kind of onomatopoetic in a subterranean reptilian way. Wow, that's a mouthful. "Goddamn Lau," I enthused. "You sound just like Allen Ginsberg. You sound like his father. You should do like Peter Orlovsky and go have shock. You don't know any more than when you started. You just kind of chased your tall. Damn, beat me to the first good left hook. That's what I was gonna say to you. Do you ever feel like a self-parody?" "No. If I listened to you assholes, I would. You're comic strips." "That's okay," I hoo-hawed. Damn, comic strips. This guy's fucking savage. That's my new insult. You're a fucking comic strip. "That's okay," I hoo-hawed, losing our ground steadily. Happy to. I don't mind being a comic strip. Transformer was a comic strip that transcended itself. He told me to shut up when we sat there and stared at each other like two old geezers at the spittoon. Damn, this is good writing, man. I summoned my bluster. Now let's decide whether we're gonna talk about me or you. You. All right, you start. Okay. Who's gonna win the pennant? I don't know shit about sports. I saw Bowie the other night. I said, "Lucky you." I think it's very sad. He's ripped off all your riffs. Obviously, I intended this as a big contention, although I really meant more than what I said. Just look in your copy of Rock Dreams and you'll see it right there, the myth. Lau Reed, looking younger, innocent, fingering his lip wide-eyed in a quaalude haze, as Bowie lurks behind him, pure Lugosi, eyes glittering, ready to strike. Lau wouldn't go for it. Everybody steals riffs. You steal yours. David wrote some really great songs. Oh, come on. I shouted at the top of my lungs. Anybody can write great songs. Sam the Sham wrote great songs. Did David ever write anything better than Hooly Bully? You ever listen to the Bewlay Brothers, shithead. Yeah, fucker. I listened to those fucking lyrics, motherfucker. Name one lyric from that song. I didn't. I heard it, but what I and millions of fans all over the world would want to know about Bowie is first you, then Jagger, then Iggy. What in the hell has he got? Jagger and Iggy? Yeah, he fucks everybody in the rock and roll circuit. He's a bigger groupie than Jan Wiener. Deadpan. He's the one who's getting fucked. Did you fuck him? All bravado, but like bullfighting on a handball court. He's fucking himself. He doesn't know it though. Even level. Vibrating, soundless hum. I figured I'd better change the subject. Behind Lau's bed was a cassette deck emanating an endless stream of the kind of funky synthesizer music that Herbie Hancock snores up. Hey Lau, why don't you turn off all that jazz shit? That's not jazz shit, and you wouldn't know the difference anyway. I'm telling you that you don't know. You've never listened. That Bowie, and here I begin to sing. And here I begin to sing in loud Ezio Pinza baritone, ripped off all his shit that's decent from you and Iggy. What does Iggy have to do with it? You are the originals. The original what? I went on about Iggy and Bowie, and he surprised me with a totally unexpected blast at the pop. David tried to help the cat. David's brilliant, and Iggy is stupid. Very sweet, but very stupid. If he'd listened to David or me, if he'd asked questions every once in a while, I'd say, man, just make a 1-5 change, and I'll put it together for you. You can take all the credit. It's so simple. But the way you're doing it now, you're just making a fool out of yourself, and it's gonna get worse and worse. He's not even a good imitation of bad Jim Morrison, and he was never any good anyway. Iggy a fool. This from the man who provoked mass snickers on 2 continents, 2 years running with Transformer. You hit me with a flower, and Berlin. I decided that I'd had enough of this horse shit, so I bulldozed on. Did you shoot Speed tonight before you went on? He acted genuinely surprised. Did I shoot Speed? No, I didn't. Speed kills. I'm not a speed freak. This started out as essentially the same rap Lau gave me one time when I went to see the Velvets at the Whiskey in 1969, as he sat there in a dressing room drinking honey from a jar and talking a mile a minute about all the energy in the streets of New York and lecturing me about the evils of drugs. All speed freaks are liars. Anybody that keeps their mouth open that much can't tell the truth all the time, or they'd run out of things to say. But now he got downright clinical. You better define your terms. What kind of speed do you do? Hydrochloride meth, hydrochloride amphetamine, how many milligrams? The pharmacological lecture was in full swing, and all I could do was giggle derisively. I used to shoot obitrals. Shit, man. Bullshit. You used to shoot obitrals. Lau was warming to his subject now, revving up, closing in for the kill. Show you up, punk. You'd be dead. You'd kill yourself. You were probably stupid and didn't even put him through cotton. You could have gotten gangrene that way. But then he's pressing me again, playing dirty. What's an obitral? I got mad again. It's in the neighborhood of Desoxin. You know what an obitral is, you lying sack of shit. This is the 4th time I've interviewed you, and you lied every time. The first time. What's Desoxin? He had just said this in the same dead monotone for the 15th time, interrupting me every second word in the tirade above, coldly insistent, sure of himself, all the clammy finality of a technician who knows every inch of his slab with both eyes put out. But I was cool. It's a methadone derivative. The kill. It's 15 milligrams of pure methamphetamine hydrochloride with some cake paste to keep it together, like an old green
slamming shut. If you do take speed, he continued, you're an example of why speed freaks have bad names. These A-heads and there's A-heads and there's speed freaks. Desoxen's 15 milligrams of methamphetamine hydrochloride held together with cake paste. Petrol is 15 milligrams of.
Hey Lau, you got anything to drink?
No, you don't know. You don't know what you're doing. You haven't done any research. You make it good for the rest of us by taking the crap. You make it good for the rest of us by taking the crap off the market. Plus, you're poor. I told you he'd stop at nothing. It's this kind of thing that may well be Lao Reed's last tennis hold on herodom, and I don't mean heroism. And even if you weren't poor, you wouldn't know what you were buying anyway. You wouldn't know how to weigh it. You don't know your metabolism. You don't know your sleeping quotient. You don't know when to eat and not to eat. You don't know about electricity. The main thing is money, power, and ego, I said, quoting an old Ralph J. Gleason column for some reason. I was getting a little dazed. No, it has to do with electricity and the cell structure. I decided to change my tack again. Now we're gonna have to do a straight. I'll take off my sunglasses, ludicrously macho, silver thin wraparounds, parodying the ones he spotted on the first Velvet's album. Parodying the ones he sported on the first Velvet's album, which I had been wearing all evening. If you'll take off yours. He did. I did. Focusing in on the shriveled body sprawled on the bed facing me with Thing behind him staring at beehives on the moon. Lau's sallow skin almost as whitish yellow as his hair, whole face and frame so transcendently emaciated, he had indeed become insectable. His eyes were rusty, like two copper coins lying in desert sands under the sun all day with telephone wires humming overhead. But he looked straight at me, maybe through me. Then again, maybe it was a good day for him. Last time I saw him, his left eyeball kept rolling off to the side. It was no parlor trick. Anyway, I was getting ready. Excuse me. Anyway, I was ready to ask my big question, the one I'd pondered over for months. Do you ever resent people for the way that you have lived out what they might think of as a dark side of their lives for them vicariously in your music or your life? Stage, it's only a rock and roll show. That ain't Allamont or the exploding plastic inevitable. He was brushing it all away like dandruff off his black street punk t-shirt. I dismissed decadence when I did the murder mystery. Grand sweeping statements like crap, how the fuck did I read? Wow, that's crazy. Font 3 looks so much smaller. That's actually crazy. I'm gonna do a Rubik's Cube real quick. Never mind. I should just read it. One thing I really did realize is reading does make me laugh, which is good. It's great actually, because I'm feeling like absolute fucking shit. I feel like crap. I still feel like shit. At least I can get an actual genuine laugh out of this. It's funny. I can't remember the last time I actually laughed. Like something actually seemed very, very funny. And I was like, wow, this guy is very smart. Or wow, that's what he just said really matches with my type of humor. I think comedians are very, very smart people. They have to be. They have to be very smart. Just very, very intelligent people. Because think about it, it takes them, they probably spend weeks, months thinking about jokes, learning about the culture, learning about what was considered funny back in, in different cultures' history. What people laughed at, what people joked about. And you have to kind of live in that you have to kind of live in that culture if you really want to if you are really interested about learning the humor codes. It's not something that you can just learn from books. How do I know? I don't know. Just I think that's for everything really. That you can't learn how to cook with only from your recipe books. If you want to get into the field, you have to know how to communicate. You have to know how to handle customers. You have to know how to handle budget, revenue, everything. Subtle points to another new collaborator in Berlin's live actress and filmmaker Asia Argento. Berlin's girlfriend has served as a last-minute director when the original director fell ill. The couple first met when Argento appeared in the show's 8th season in 2016. Alright. I'm gonna sleep. Bye, guys.